Yvonne, can you get everybody on your iPad?
No, no,
Okay.
just I'm on my phone. I only get people when they speak, one at a time.
Oh, okay.
I can hear everyone.
Stan, we're ready when you are.
Okay, I'll call this meeting to order of the Jasper Municipal Regional Planning Commission, August the 3rd, 2020. And I've determined there is a quorum. So we'll go on to the next thing about reading the minutes for the previous meeting, and we don't have those in front of us right now, so we're going to suspend the reading of those minutes until the hopefully we'll have those by the September the 7th meeting. And there's a few other ones we have to approve together, and then we'll get those approved at that time. So I guess we'll go right on into the new business, and under the new business we have Kyle Holland is looking to discuss about the use of 103 Magnolia for the use of 6 apartments. Is that currently zoned R2 high density, currently limited to 3 apartment units. Is that correct, Chad?
Yes, sir, that's correct. And I'm going to put the map up on your screen, but there was also one in your agenda packets that was sent out as well. It's currently zoned R2. It's also in a flood zone. So let me share that with you right here. So here's the property itself, located right here. I just recently purchased the property this year. It's in a zone AE flood zone, which means any construction that takes place has to be built at least 1 foot above the established base flood elevations for this area. And I'm going to put his request up on the screen here. You should be able to see this.
I hear ducks.
I'm going to mute you. So if you
it's at my house.
so if you need to ask us anything, just unmute when you're ready. Okay, so go ahead, Kyle.
Could you put your cursor right where that square is, where the property's at, Chad?
This right here.
Yeah.
Let's see, I've got a different. This is what I was looking at this.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Right in here. Right next to where it's where the pilot might.
No, I've got a question, if I might, there, Chad. Are we looking to just try to do a variance on this one lot? Is that what he's requesting?
No, we're not looking for a variance. Kyle, do you want to explain what it is that you're requesting here? I can tell you, it's currently based on the ordinance, and it's only approved for 3 apartment units.
That is correct. What this diagram shows you, the white part of the structure here is the building itself. So I meet all the criteria for the Jasper City ordinances. So each bedroom has to have 2 parking places, and I meet those. If it's 3 units, it'll be a 2-bedroom unit, and so there's a total of 6 bedrooms, and you have to have 12 parking places for 6 bedrooms. In its current condition, and according to the laws of Jasper, that is what I can do today. What I'm asking for the commission to consider is, instead of 3 units that have 2 bedrooms, which is a total of 6 bedrooms, if I could build the same size building, the same size setbacks, the same parking places, the same everything, it's just, it would be 6 single bedrooms, which is the equivalent of the 12 or the 6 of the regular ones. I hope that's not too confusing. It's the exact same number of people, exact same number of parking places, exact same size building. The setbacks are the same. I have to build it above the floodplain. Mr. Gary will have to obviously make sure that we're doing it correctly, like he's been doing for me for the last 4 years. But again, everything is exactly the same, except for it has 6 singles instead of 2 doubles or 3 doubles.
What is the square footage of each unit, Kyle?
They're roughly about 480 square feet per unit if we go with the sixplex. If we go with the duplex, which will be, again, the same size, they're roughly 960 square feet per unit. And I have built both of these structures. I mean, they both exist, so I'm pretty good with my numbers.
480 square feet, that's awful small, isn't it, for a living?
Not when you walk into it. I just built one on 2nd Street. It's pretty roomy. It has a full living room in it. It has a full kitchen in it, a full bathroom in it, a full bedroom, a laundry closet, and a walk-in closet. We just completed it a week ago on 2nd Street in that two-story building. There's a lot of room in there. It doesn't sound like it, but there is.
I just have a problem with, had that many units in one building there. What are you looking at, 2-story or 3-story? I mean,
it's only a 2-story, only 2. You can't, yeah. I can't go over 3 without putting a sprinkler system in it according to your guidelines.
Right. But like I said, I have a problem with that many units in one place. When you look at these two, which I'm looking at, meter deposit or meter for each one of these, that'd be 6 meters. We're looking at, garbage cans that we have to pick up that, then when you get into the parking, personally, I just have a problem with the 6 units. I'd love to see the 3 units there. I think that that would be better for more people. So,
well, again, it's the same number of cars, same number of people. It's just, you're right. It's just 3 more meters and 3 more trash cans is all we got to deal with.
Right. Yeah.
Kyle, are you restricting this is Stan, are you restricting the units to where that there can only be 2 people in a unit?
Oh, 1 or 2. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it either has to be just a couple or a single with a child, or just 2 adults, whatever, just 1 adult.
Well, I mean, it's real hard to limit that, but I am the owner, so I can approve or deny an application whenever they fill one out for me. The building on 2nd Street is all 1 bedrooms, and pretty much it's basically either a single adult or a married couple is about the only thing I'm going to let come in there. I just don't. I want it to be quiet. I want it to be, well, I basically want it to be quiet. I want it to be an adult building, and I have children of my own. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's specifically not built for an extra bedroom or a kid's room or something like that. That's not what these things are built for.
What are the dimensions of the lot there? I'm looking at this. Is it 350 on one end?
No, sir. It's 110 across, which is, I had to have a minimum of 90 square feet, which I have 110 across, and it's 100 foot deep, which is, again, it meets all the guidelines.
Now, Kyle, I pulled the deed on this, and for the deed, which that's right here, it says in the deed that it's 104 feet across and 96 feet deep.
Okay. I still meet it with that, but we'd have to get some pins. I still got to have it surveyed. Sounds like if that's the deed, then I still made it by 6 feet.
So is all the blue area that I'm looking at, there's a blue and then there's a light gray. That's all going to be concrete. Is that correct? Where the parking's going to be?
Yes, sir. I just wanted you to see the different parking lots, but it'll all be poured the same. Yes, sir.
So then you've got the white area as the building, and then the green part would just be the only green space around it. Is that correct?
That would be the grassy area. Yes, sir.
And then, of course, the building inspector would have to worry about making sure that you've got plenty of stormwater runoff there. I know that there's been a little bit of a problem with water backing up into people's yards in there. Just make sure that, once that there's the more pavement that's there is more runoff that's going to be occurring onto Magnolia Street. That would
This
be
particular property has a major drain in front of it, which blocks the property from Magnolia. There's a pretty big ditch right there that diverts the water down the hill. And Mr. Gary would obviously make sure that I do it properly.
Well, it still has a problem with the water coming out when the backwater gets out from the other side of the road over there, 41 Highway. That's when it backs up and has a problem. And
I was not aware of that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that's been a history for forever because I was raised up here. So, and that place down the road is flooded for as long as I can remember. And
Right.
and it's all because of backwaters getting up across the road, not because of the runoff here.
Right.
But like I said, I've got concerns with having this is I think we're going to get a lot of feedback from people if we start letting larger or more units come in like this, because these are single family homes there, and I know that there are going to be some feedback and resistance on this because of the neighborhood.
Right.
They'd rather see houses in there and see apartments.
I certainly understand. Like I said, whether I build the building with 3 units in it or 6 units in it, we're going to have these same issues. We're going to have the same issues, and the parking lot's going to be poured the same. The building will be built the same. The green will be the same. The ditch will be the same. Everything's going to be the same. It's just the building itself. Like I say, that's the only thing I'm asking is to go 6 singles versus 3 doubles.
And I think we're looking at a ordinance change and instead of a variance stand on this, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Chad?
That's what it would be. It would be an ordinance change if this were to be permitted. So Kyle, where's the planned open space area for this many people to grill out in their backyard or be around? That seems like they're such narrow yards. It's over half the property is nothing but parking.
Yeah, there's not a place for them to grill outside, and that's more of a fire hazard, and I don't allow that to happen even on my property out in Kimball. I don't encourage them to do that because I don't want them to, get too close to the building and burn it down. So that's one of the stipulations in the lease that they can't do that.
Kyle, why are you going vertical instead of staying horizontal with the 3 units?
Basically it's due to cost. You've got, you're going to increase the cost by at least 20 to 25% if you stay on one level. And I can't get the required parking lot dimensions that is required by the city if I run the building all the way across. There's just not enough room there.
But you're going to run into ADA issues for whoever the folks are that got to go up the stairs to get to the top unit, right?
Well, they have the choice of 3 on the bottom if we get this approved, and then the younger folks are renting the ones up top. So just depends on who I rent it to.
Yeah, I don't know. You might want to talk to your attorney about that. I wouldn't want to give you any legal advice, but I mean,
I appreciate that.
Folks with disabilities, I mean, they got rights to go the same places everybody else does. But
I agree.
I would talk with your attorney about that.
Well,
I appreciate that.
Kyle, I got a question now. The one that you built on 2nd Avenue there, now that's 4 units. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes.
And was there a variance given on that? Because apparently it's zoned for currently just 3 units. Is that correct?
There was not a variance given. You'll have to talk to Mr. Gary about that. I don't know what the mix-up was whenever we pulled the permit. I don't know what happened, but I was given permission. I got the permit. I built it. So you'd have to talk to Mr. Gary on that.
Because under the current regulations, you couldn't even put the exact same thing that you put on Second Street on this lot, according to the regulations. Is that correct, Chad?
Well, I don't know what he has on Second Street, so I couldn't answer to that.
There's
But
a
I can
four-
tell you,
there's
it's
a four
required by
unit-
the ordinance. In order to have multifamily, you have to have at least a lot that's 90 feet wide, which is this one's 104, and you have to have at least 9,000 square feet, and that would allow you to have up to 3 units. Once you get above 3 units, you have to have 3,000 additional square feet per unit of lots.
What about setback requirements and all? Does this meet the setback requirements, Chad?
Well, I can't tell since it doesn't have the dimensions next to the building, so I
I'd be
couldn't
more than
answer
happy to share
the
those with you,
drawing.
Chad.
Pardon?
I'd be more than happy to share those with you if you'd like.
Sure.
I think, Mayor, that's why he's got the building designed the way he does, is to meet the setback requirements, because you can't put a structure within the setbacks, but he can put a parking lot there. So
Correct. He
I
can
think
put
that's why he's
parking.
going vertical instead of horizontal, because that's really probably the only way you can get, 6 people, 6 families in there with the space he's got to work with.
Guys, everybody, that's the only way I can get 3 of them in there too.
Does anybody else have any other questions for Kyle or for Chad or anyone?
Well, I just have an issue with change the ordinance for this one unit here when we have all the single family homes there that's, right now, I just have a problem with that.
Well, I do know that there is several apartment buildings down Magnolia. I think down
Yeah.
Magnolia, there's one down there with 4 units in it. Another one on down the road there off of Magnolia, and I don't know if that's 5th Street or 6th Street with 4 units in it. So there is more apartments down in that area other than just single family homes.
Yeah.
But
And they're
whether-
sitting on larger lots and, the not just crammed in there. I think down by the First Baptist Church, is that the one stands that you're referring to?
Yeah, I believe so. And then I think on down too, there's
To be honest with you, some of those buildings are setting closer to the road than this one ever will be. And then some of them are set back off more than this. And it just depends on which road you take, depends on which building they are. There's probably 6, 7, 8 buildings down there, and they've been built in, various ways.
Kyle, is your building plans, you're gonna put the 4 1-bedroom apartments on the bottom level, and then the top level would be the 2-bedroom unit? Is that what you're thinking, or?
No, sir. What it would be is you'd have 3 singles on the bottom and 3 singles on the top. They'd be accessible by a staircase.
Okay, I thought I saw in here somewhere 4 1-bedroom and a 2-bedroom.
We do have a variance to do 4 and then 1, which would be that is an option B, which would be
Yeah, well, that's
4
6
1-bedrooms. Yeah, which again goes back to, it's the same size building. It's just there would be 5 families instead of 6 families or 3 families.
Mhm.
It's the same number of people, same size building, same amount of parking
That's
places.
what I'm trying to figure out, what your building layout's gonna be. If so you're talking about basically 6 1-bedroom units stacked 3 wide, 3 on top, right?
That is correct.
Or 4 on the bottom and a 2 on top.
No, it'd be 2 singles on the bottom, 2 singles on the top, and then the other one would be if you did a 2-bedroom, then you have a living room, kitchen on the bottom, and then 2 bedrooms up top.
I'm still not clear on how these are all going to be interconnected, separated by firewalls, correct?
Oh, absolutely, they have to be.
So you're going to have 3 1-bedrooms on the bottom level that are separated by a firewall in between them.
Yes,
And
sir.
then there'll be a set of stairs that go up to the top level, which would have three one-bedroom apartments.
Yes, sir.
Is that what I'm understanding? Of course,
And actually,
you've got fire separation in the ceiling of the bottom level to keep fire from going up into the top level. And it doesn't, fire don't usually burn down. I guess it can, but so, and each one of these are going to have their own separate access, their own. So there's going to be a walkway or I guess a veranda or something to get around to the doors on the top level.
yes, sir.
This is almost kind of sort of like a motel,
Motel, that's what I'm thinking.
right?
Well, the building on Second Street, I encourage each one of the members to drive by. The way it's designed is there's a staircase that splits the building apart. It's 5 feet wide. I would be more than happy to split this building and put a breezeway and put the staircase to split each one of the units, just like I did on Second Street. It's
Nobody here is trying to, really tell you how to design it or how to build. I'm just trying to figure out in my mind, how you're going to get those folks up to the top levels and what the overall appearance. I think the overall appearance, you can put a different roof on it and make it look sort of residential, but it's still going to be kind of like a motel because you got two different levels, families living on different levels. I guess you could design the exterior of it so that it looked like a big giant house.
That's it. And you know what? And I encourage all the help you can give me. There's nothing that I can't change or do, but the house structure on Second Street, which again, I refer back to, it looks like a house. It's just split apart with a breezeway with a staircase. And to me, it doesn't look like a hotel at all. It looks like a home. It's got shutters. It's got, it's got the doors as far as the entryways. Everything's built exactly like a house, and it doesn't look like a hotel at all. There's no, concrete ledge around the front, and it's built just like a house would be.
Well, I've actually looked at that place on Second Street, and it looks fine. It looks like a little apartment building. I've been inside that before the walls was up, just looking at the layout.
Oh,
And
great.
they are tiny, but still it looks like it'd be a perfect layout for a single couple or just a single person, maybe going to school or whatever. I don't know, Mark, we're getting like a motel, but I guess you could consider it's a monthly rent place. So, but my only concern is even going from the restriction right now, going from 3 to 6, we're already, for some reason, we allowed 4 to go in without this. So I think before you move forward, you're doing the correct thing, Kyle, of trying to get the planning commission to either change their ordinances or something to whether it's going to be maybe instead of 3 units, maybe go to 4 units or whatever it may be. I don't know what that magical number is, but
Right.
I think that at least you're going the right direction with it so that you can, because you're wanting to do a nice building there and you want it to I would much rather see 6 single bedroom houses than what's there now. But with that being said, I would rather see possibly maybe even a 4-bedroom like you did on Second Street, there, because I think that the more you get in there, it's really going to be congested. And I know that you're saying it's going to have the same amount of water runoff, the same amount of square footage, but there is going to, and of course, you do have sewer in there, so you don't have to worry about sewer. But it's, you got to instead of having 4 water closets, you're going to have 6 water closets. There's more to it than that. So that's the only concern I've got about trying to change the ordinance from 3 to 6, because once we start changing from 3 to 6, that's going to, I think that's going to open us up for all that whole area that we're going to have to abide by 3 to 6. What the magic number is, I don't really know.
Well, there's one thing that I have learned, and I appreciate that very, very much. And you're right. I'm trying to do the right thing and get everybody's opinion and see what they think about this. There are virtually almost I can't see of any other piece of property anywhere close to this. That's the reason why I bought it, that has the 90 square feet in width. And obviously I got 96, so I just squeaked in. There's just not a lot of property in that zone that's around there doesn't have already something on it that meets that criteria. I tried to buy a piece of property on 103 Cumberland, which is still for sale. And it was only, Chad, if you remember, it was only 70 feet wide and it was real long. And that shot it down as a single bedroom house. So I did not purchase that property. So I found this one knowing that I could do it. So, to have the same size building put on this and have 4 units, that'd be fantastic. It could, there's a variance of it. Again, I have to build the building the same size and the same position, same parking lot. That it all has to be built exactly the same in order to meet all the rest of the guidelines. And those guidelines are very important to me to meet and make sure that I get it right.
I've got a question on these figures on here on the dimensions on this thing. What are the 300 feet, the 250, and the 200? Are you just starting at one point and going around, or what
Yes,
is
sir.
the?
Yes, sir.
You're starting right there in the center, going 50 feet down here.
It starts at the
100
bottom right. It starts at the bottom right, and you'll see it go up to 50, then 100, then over to 150, 200, and then 250, 300, and then back. It goes all the way around.
Yeah.
So the perimeter is 414.88 is the perimeter.
Which is
Okay.
10,600 something feet if I got my math right.
If it's according to the deed, you got less than that.
According
Right.
to the deed, it comes out to be about 9,900 square feet.
What did you say it was, Chad? It was 96
Well,
wide by what?
let me put it back up on the screen here. Let's see.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Swap
that.
over to another page here. The way I read it, it's 104 feet wide, looks like, by 96 feet.
Yeah, I'm 16 feet away from 10,000 feet. So yeah, 9,984 square feet. Yep. I would be more than happy to invite any of the members of the planning commission to walk inside the finished product. If you'd like to see the quality that we've done to the building, if there's any question about that, I would be more than happy to send photographs if y'all choose to do that. I would be more than happy to let you walk through it. We've got 1 unit still available that I haven't rented yet. I don't skimp on anything. I spent a lot of time and a lot of money, and I'd like to bring my business to Jasper.
Chad, I'm kind of looking over quickly on our regulations. We don't really even have anything that addresses going vertical like that, do we?
It's only addressed in height restrictions.
Right.
That's the only requirement as far as going vertical.
Yeah, and that's primarily because of depending on how close it is to the airport for those height restrictions. But
Well, it's also set just so you don't have large buildings in residential areas.
right.
So
But I mean, if this one goes in, and there's some land becomes available, I would see there be a want or a desire to put another one in, at least, that on that same level. So, and I don't think we don't have anything in our ordinance that addresses it other than height, do we?
No, so the maximum height for a R2 high density zone is 50 feet. If this were a R1 zone, it'd be 35 feet.
Do some of the other municipalities have regulations where they're regulating, when they want to do apartment units vertically?
No, most of that would be handled through the building code. Most zoning ordinances strictly just either allow apartments in a specific zone or they
Yeah.
limit the density. And that's sort of what this ordinance is. So what the request is to actually double the density and double the parking for the property.
It's been a while since, I think the last issue the town had with that particular issue in the building code was up at Gentry's house, going up toward Whitwell, on that old Valley View Highway. That primarily dealt with who reviewed the plans, whether they were reviewed locally or if the state had to get involved. And with the type of, understructure, the structure that's on the bottom levels that have to carry the top levels, the dimensions of those boards. I think the issue up at Gentry's was, one school of thought said, there should be 2x6 studs all around the bottom, and I think they used 2x4s or something like that. But you're right, that wasn't the building code. I just wasn't aware if there was anything.
I wouldn't be able to answer that. I wish Earl was on. He could answer your question better than I could.
Yeah. I don't think that part of the building code's changed, but I mean, that's not even going to factor in here because we're talking about 2 levels. That only applies once you get to 3 stories.
And once you get to 2 levels, does it not require a sprinkler system?
3.
Well, I think that's what Kyle had said. If he goes to 3 levels, then he would have to put a sprinkler in.
Yeah,
You also had to go one step further, folks. You have to get a certified Tennessee engineer to not only put the sprinkler system in, you also had to have a set of certified engineer to look at the structure. And you're right, and that could very well go into 2x6 walls and things of like that. So at no point in time would I ever build a 3-story structure because I don't want to incur those extra costs. And to be honest with you, I think it would look bad. So I wouldn't want to do it.
Well, and I think you there again, that ADA issue about accessibility and putting in residential elevators or chair lifts, things like that. So I don't know, that probably is more along the lines of the building code and the American or the disability, the handicap accessibility code. So,
Right.
But I mean, you weren't talking about going over 50 foot with this 2 level anyway.
No, sir. No, sir.
Although you will have to get up somewhat there because of the flood issue. I'm not sure what the base flood elevation is right there, but I know that the mayor's right. There's been some water in there about every time it backs up across the street.
The property on 2nd Street, the entire property is in a flood zone. And I had met with Mr. Gary to make sure that we done it correctly. The structure is 4 blocks out of the ground. It meets the 1 foot over elevation. And I had a certified Tennessee surveyor to provide Mr. Gary with that information to let me proceed. So we would do the exact same thing on this project, regardless of what is built. That corner where the building is, some of that building is not in a floodplain, but one corner is. So it doesn't matter to me. I still gonna have to have it done and get a surveyor in there. Not only does the surveyor come in and tell me the setbacks and puts the pins, then whenever I pour the foundation and lay the blocks, then he has to come back and recertify it and present a letter to Mr. Gary in order for me to go up with the structure. So we have to make sure we have our homework done before we go forward.
Right.
Mayor,
Go
I have a
ahead. Yeah.
question. I'm wondering, we addressed the fact that this was a multi-family structure. Have we, or has Kyle spoken with the neighbors about this? Those houses are pretty tight down there. I was just wondering if they had spoken with them and anybody was really, really against it or really, really for it.
I can definitely answer that question. So to the left of the lot is vacant. There's nobody there. The rear of the lot, there's nobody there all the way to the other street. And there never will be there because of the priors owning that property. To the right of that property is a gentleman who's in a white brick build or white cinder block building. I've talked to him and he didn't indicate any issues with that. Across the road, which is between Magnolia and my building, there's a lovely lady, and her name does not ring a bell to me. We've talked to her multiple times. She's okay with everything that we're doing. I made sure that if anything goes wrong, that I would address it immediately. But she's even let us use her. She's even let us get water to drink and things out of her house. So she's a very sweet lady. So but no, I mean, again, two sides and, the side and the back, there's nothing there. I mean, it's private property. Nothing's been built
see.
there. So, yeah, it's a great question. That's a great question, but nobody's said anything to me about it. And to be honest with you, I think they just want that old house torn down and something pretty back in its place, which is my intention.
Kyle, do you have an elevation or anything you could, get for the board, maybe show how you would make this look like a house, design it so that, the board could have an idea about what that's going to look like going in there. Have you got any tentative drawings, or have you done any of that yet?
I have not taken the time, because it takes, several hours to put something like that together and make it structurally work. Other than the building on 2nd Street, that's pretty much a live version of the type of building and structure that we would go into to build this. I would build it exactly the same way.
You're talking about replicating what you did on 2nd Street, only there would be an additional 2 units on the end of the 2nd Street building.
That is correct. That is 100% correct.
Design, roof line, shutters, things like that.
That is 100% correct. I would replicate that exactly, except for 2 more.
I guess what's come before the board is we need to make either a recommendation or non-recommendation, whether we want to redo our zoning ordinance to allow 6 apartments in an R2 high density to 6 apartments. That's really the bottom question, no matter even if they don't build anything on there. That's the question. Is that correct, Chairman?
And Chad, would we not have to notify each property owner around there the potential change or to ordinance?
Well, the thing is, if you make a change to the ordinance, you're doing it across the entire town. So it would affect every property across the town. And what it would mean is you'd actually have to make a change as far as the square footage requirements, and the density that's permitted on a lot. In this case, he'd be doubling the density. So whether or not you could have 2 or 3 bedrooms per unit, if you just did the 3 units, you still have just 1 family living in each of those units. This you're going up to 6 families, and you're also doubling the parking from a minimum required of 6 to 12. And so those changes would be permitted pretty much anywhere in the town if you made the change.
And see, I think that's where the roadblock will hit, Chad, because you can't, on the lots that are so small there's no way they can get the parking in order to do it unless they do single bedrooms like I would. The building lots in that area are just not big enough to do this. This was the needle in the haystack, to be honest with you.
And I think there's a lot of people out there that would take and put a single family home back on a lot like that instead of looking to put apartments on it. And so, and I don't know, I don't know why nobody approached Sharon about buying that property in the past, because I know there's people out there every day looking for property to build single family homes on.
Right.
Part of it
We're going to have some reservations about it, is making a change to the zoning ordinance. We're only looking at 1 property in particular and tailoring a change to the ordinance for that. Like I said, this will affect all of your R2 zones across the town. So while in this case, you may have 90 feet wide, somebody else may have 75 feet wide, but a deep lot. They're going to be making a request that you get rid of the 90 feet wide requirement, make a change in that case too. So I think we're kind of trying to tailor an ordinance to fit 1 property when in actuality it's going to affect the whole community. And the other problem I see with the proposed design of this is there's not any open space areas. So when you're bringing in 6 different families that may have 2 or more individuals for this lot, you don't have a backyard, there's no place to grill out, no picnic tables, it's a parking lot in a building. And for the neighborhood where it is, that doesn't seem very characteristic of all the other homes that are around it to have that much density on a piece of property.
Well, I'll make a motion that we don't change the ordinance.
And who was that?
Wayne,
Tell me once again what he just said.
he makes a motion that we not change the ordinance.
I second that motion.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second on the board. Is there any more discussion before we take a vote? Does anybody have any questions or want to bring up anything before we vote on this? And I've got a motion and a second on the board. All in favor, say aye.
Do we need to do a roll call?
We need
Do a roll call vote?
Roll call to the Zoom.
You do a roll call vote, Stan.
Okay, let's do a roll call vote there, Linda, please.
Okay, Stan,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Yvonne,
Yes.
and Paul Wayne.
Yes.
Okay,
It seems like the motion is carried, so we're going to leave the zoning ordinance as is. And Kyle, what I would just, if I may be out of line here, but I might just recommend you talk to Earl and find out if you can put that same unit on that piece of property there before you purchase. I don't know if you've already purchased or not, but you did have 4 units put on in a R2 zone. So there may be something that you could at least put 4 units in there. But I mean, I personally, and I think the board members are the same, we would much rather see you coming into Jasper so we could have more people in there shopping and spending money in Jasper than Kimball
Yes, sir.
or Crossroads. So we do appreciate your building here, but I think it's to change the ordinance to fit one, as you even said, a needle in a haystack. I don't think we need to try to do that. The board said that, so
Can I ask another question?
absolutely.
So the building that is on Second Street has the 4 units on it, and that building is probably about, I'd say it's probably 16, 17 feet narrow than the proposed building that we saw in my drawing today. So in other words, that building that I proposed was 48 feet long and it's 32 feet deep. The building that's on Second Street with 4 units on it is only 35 feet wide and it's 32 feet deep. That puts me at 4 units. I would be able to center that building in the back of the property. If the board members would allow me to build that same building on that piece of property, that would allow me to at least have 4 instead of 3. And then, like Chad said, we have maybe an opportunity to have a grassy area for picnic tables and things like that. Since we are all together, that is, if that's another change and everybody says no, then I certainly understand. But that'd be my secondary question.
I think that would be something that you would bring up with Earl and find out from Earl how he gave a building permit for the 4 unit in that area anyway. And he may have a reason why that he is allowed putting a 4 unit apartment in an area where it's restricted to 3 units. He may have something in his building code that maybe supersedes I don't know.
Kyle, was that building up on Second Street? Isn't that the one you did with Matt Blancett and Stone? Is that the same one?
No, sir. I'm not sure who Mr. Blancett is.
Okay, all right, you're okay. There was another one that was up there near the middle school that I know Earl had some issues with on that. I just want to make sure this one that you're describing was not that one.
No,
This is
sir.
the building he built right next to Stanley, where Stanley Goforth lived.
Okay, all right. Yeah, different area.
The one he sold that.
Okay,
That was the Goforth property.
gotcha.
Me and Mr. Gary has had several conversations, and he's going to make me come back to the board even to put a 4 structure back on the property. I don't know what happened in order for him to approve the permit on Second Street. I just know that he's going to go back to the board to ask me to build it again. So that's the reason I'm asking the question now, because I'm going to get the exact same answer. He won't touch it again. Whether he messed up and gave me the permit or not, I don't know. I don't know what happened. But I know he's going to ask me to come back to the board.
I can't answer to the other property as to it since I'm not familiar with it, but I can say just from the ordinance, and I know Earl was looking at this too when we talked about this situation. For him to be able to add a fourth unit on this property, he'd need about an additional 2,100 square feet, somewhere thereabouts.
Right.
You have to have the 3,000 square feet. So his 9,900 and however many square feet that is, up to the 12,000. The difference between those two is what would be required by your ordinance in order to permit the fourth unit. And then dimensions of the units themselves and all of that, that's governed by the minimums of the building code and the building setbacks.
Kyle, maybe one of the best things you could do would be to get that lot surveyed and find out exactly what you have on the ground. I mean, a lot of times deeds will have calls in them, and when they go out there and they actually try to find the Henderson line or the rock with the oak tree pointers or whatever, it may not be there. So, if you had a survey, and you said you're going to need one anyway, you'd at least know exactly how much square footage you had in that lot.
Right. And Chad and I have known each other for quite some time, and I would tend to think if it's 96 by whatever it is, then he's pretty much going to be accurate on it because that is on the deed. But you're right. I definitely have to get it done. I'm just trying to figure out what I need to design, what I need to build, and where I need to steer my checkbook to figure out what I could do. I certainly understand 6, the concerns with 6. Like I say, if I can build the same thing, at least gives me 4. If not, then I'll meet all the requirements to build exactly what I've showed the board tonight and build the same structure with all the setbacks for a 3 unit structure. It's just going to be a bigger building.
And I think you're right. Get with Earl. I think he can come back to the board or he can give recommendations and to see what he may want to suggest, and we'll just have to go from there.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll go on to any new business. Chad, anything else?
I don't believe I have any new business to report.
Any old business anybody wants to bring up? If we have no new business other than what we just discussed, or no old business,
Hey, Stan?
Yes.
Chad, don't we need to get a new meeting date since?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
That is something we need to do. And I guess while we're talking about it, I was looking through my notes here. We've got the Huddle House site plan that should be coming up sometime in the near future. So Mayor, I don't know if you have any idea of how close they are to being ready to submit one to us.
What is that?
The Huddle House.
No, we went out there and marked the water and sewer line. So he said that they were working on getting all the up-to-date site plans.
Oh, okay. And then I was going over the notes of the phone conversations that I had, and I know we had one request from an individual who is wanting to open up a truck washing station next to Love's, but the proposal they submitted was actually for a temporary structure. So that was something that wasn't going to work with your current ordinance. So I discussed with him, if they want to come back with it, he was eventually going to build a permanent building. So I said, if he wants to move forward with the permanent building, we'd be glad to take a look at his site plan.
So what date are we looking at possibly meeting in September?
What, the 7th is Labor Day, right?
Right.
And what would the 8th? Don't we usually set it for the day after, like that, which would be the Tuesday the 8th?
And I may or may not be able to attend that night, but if not, though, I'll still have it worked out for you all to move forward with your meeting.
Would it be better to do it on a Thursday?
Yeah. Chad?
Oh, I'm sorry. It'll be hard to work around my schedule. I'm serving 9 planning commissions right now, so it's a little tough to do that. And right now, while we have one of our planners out with a new baby, I'm covering about over half of his communities too.
Just Zoom us all in one big mass meeting.
That might
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
You'll just pick the date that works best for you, and I'll try to work around you the best we can.
And of course,
Got everybody here now, so except for Mac, that'd be if we could.
Now, is the following week your board meeting, Mayor?
Yeah, the 14th is a board meeting.
Because I had that evening open.
There's nothing that says we have to do it before the board meeting. That we got the 21st.
Right.
You know, if that works better. If it's got to be on a Monday, I mean, it doesn't.
Yeah.
and
The Huddle House is one thing that I know that will be coming in, but
you think it'll be in by the September date, Mayor?
you know,
we've got to get all that information.
yeah, he told me when the last time I talked to him, he's looking at breaking ground 30 to 45 days, and that was 2 weeks ago that we met out there. So,
Yeah. So
I don't know.
end of this month, then sometime.
I can give him a call tomorrow and find out where he stands on it. What about the Dollar General? I thought in that moving forward, Stan?
There's nothing. No, that's not going to, they won't have anything.
Okay.
Have anything to come before the planning commission at all. I don't think at all. So, and tell me again, what's the problem with meeting on Monday, the 7th, other than Labor
It's a
Day?
holiday.
Labor Day.
It's Labor Day.
Are we not going to be in town? Are we not working or?
Oh, we work every day, Stan.
Dan, I can be there.
Some people have holidays.
If we're not going to have any business, we can cancel that meeting on September the 7th just as easy as if we had it on September the 8th or 9th or 10th.
I guess, why don't we just leave that as a standing date, and then depending on if any of the site plans come in or we have other pressing business, we'll just consider it a special called meeting and set a date that works for everyone.
You know, you got August the 31st. It's the Monday before that too. That's a week before the holiday. I don't know if some folks, plan their vacation or whatever, and maybe, go the week before Labor Day, but I'm not going anywhere. I'll be around whenever.
I'll be around. Wayne said
I'll
he'll be
be
around.
around.
So
I think we should just go ahead and keep it at September the 7th as a tentatively date of the meeting. And if we have no business, and we can cancel it. If we do have a meeting, if we need to postpone it for a week or 2 weeks, we can surely do that. Is that correct?
yeah.
Yes.
That sounds,
We can postpone it.
yeah. That
Or
sounds
reset
good.
it. Yeah. Around the holiday. We can do that.
Okay, anything else?
You need a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, and hope I didn't confuse everybody too much.
Thanks for everybody's
Hey.
time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Everybody stay
Bye.
Okay. Okay, let me see.